All right. Welcome to Regulate and Rise, where regulation is the path to liberation. I'd like to introduce you to my awesome co host, Tracy Anderson, who is a trauma conscious somatic practitioner, uh, founder of Ruha Rising. And I am Lianna Empowers, Chief Frequency Liberator and founder of the Emancipation Frequency. So, tonight we are going to talk about finding safety in an unsafe world.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people right now, if you've been feeling some of what I've been feeling, feel like there's so much going on around them that sometimes it feels unsafe. We can feel unsafe in our work environment. We can feel unsafe uh, in our home just by doom scrolling on our phones or uh, certain shows that we watch on TV. We just
Mhm.
don't realize how much the nervous system plays a role in how we operate in daily life. And so I wanted to ask Tracy, just break this down in real life terms for us, Tracy. What exactly is the nervous system doing when we feel unsafe?
So, to explain that, I'll start with when we feel safe, our nervous system's regulated, we feel connected to other people, we're calm, we're present, we can make decisions clearly. But if we're feeling unsafe, it can make us feel unsafe around other people, in our own bodies, in our own minds. We feel like we need to run or hide. We get anxious, we might get overwhelmed. And how that shows up in your body, your heart might be racing. You can feel a lot of muscle tension. You can feel brain fog. And other times when you don't feel safe, if running away or not being able to regulate yourself works, where you can get back to that regulated state, sometimes we go into shutdown, which we freeze. We can't think. We feel numb. We feel disconnected, frozen, even. Our body feels heavy. We move slowly. We might just be sitting there stuck and not be able to move, and people will wonder what's going on with us. So that's just how it looks in your body when you're not feeling safe. Your mind's asking itself a lot of questions, and your body's just freezing up or feeling like it's overwhelmed or overstimulated, and you can't slow down.
What exactly is the nervous system for the average person out there who doesn't really understand what it is and how it affects us?
Your nervous system basically controls your whole body. So you have your brain, and you have all of these nerves coming from your brain. They go to every single organ, all up and down your body, all the way from your head to your feet. And what happens is your nervous system is the pathway, like a freeway, so to speak, that sends messages to your brain. Am I safe? Can I do this? Am I at peace? What's going on in my body? So we're constantly picking up signals from outside our body, from other people, the stuff going on around us. And that comes inside of our body, and it goes along that highway of nerves to every single organ. It tells it you're okay. It tells it you can breathe. It tells it you are safe. It tells our bodies you're not safe. It just depends on the messages coming in, but it's basically a freeway system pathway in your body that sends signals telling us what to do, how to act, etc.
Okay. What exactly are the three states that the nervous system can be in?
So you have your regulated state where you're safe, you're connected, you're calm. Again, you can think clearly, you can connect with others because you're not feeling like threatened by other people around you or feeling like they're going to say something that upsets me. You're calm. You can just be yourself. It's when you're most yourself, when you're most at peace. And then you have your activated state. If something happens that you don't expect to happen, somebody does something, says something, traffic jam even, we can go into an activated nervous system state where we feel like we have to fight, flee, run. We have to do something. We get nervous, we get overwhelmed. And then the opposite of that, if we continue to feel overwhelmed and dysregulated and not able to stay calm and safe, we go into a shutdown nervous system state, which is I freeze, I collapse, I can't do anything, I'm helpless, I'm hopeless, I'm depressed, I need to protect myself. So it's all about how do I protect myself? When I'm safe and connected, I'm at peace, so I'm okay. When I'm activated, I've got to find a way to protect myself because my heart's beating really fast. How do I calm myself down? And you can also go into that shutdown state where you feel like I need to protect myself. There's nothing else I can do. Nothing I do is going to make a difference or matter. So I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to stop. I'm going to hide. I'm going to just freeze and go numb.
Sometimes it blows my mind how people are just going through their everyday life and they have no clue what's in operation
Or,
within themselves. I know I didn't know that
mhm,
that's specifically what it was because it kind of becomes our normal way of being, or normal way of being, and we just think that we're reacting to things going on in our environment, which
mhm,
technically we are, but we have no clue how we can affect our
mhm,
state, whatever state we're in, and actually return to uh, balance.
mhm,
And I think, whoo, God, that's critical in today's
mhm,
world, is knowing how to bring balance back to yourself.
mhm,
Um, so basically, what you're saying is when someone feels anxious or overwhelmed, that's
mhm.
not them being too much, or there's something wrong with them. It's just their body trying to protect them, right?
Yes. So it's your body trying to protect you. Um, it's more about what happened to me, what's going on around me. You didn't do anything wrong. It just happens sometimes. You're not a bad person. We just sometimes get so overwhelmed or so anxious or fearful because of everything happening around us, sometimes all at once, that we just need to protect ourselves.
Hmm. And like we were talking a bit last week, um, that's why I'm so glad that we're doing this show, is to bring awareness to people of what is actually going on within them,
Mhm,
because you can't shift into a new way of being unless you address exactly what's going on within you. I know I've experienced different situations within my family where an individual would be like extremely stressed out, overwhelmed, overthinking, and to the point where it almost makes them feel manic, or
mhm,
they don't really recognize what's going on within them, and then they don't have the tools necessary to shift out of that state. And
mhm,
sometimes quite frankly, you can, and I've observed this as well, you can be in a state of overwhelm and not even know how to help yourself, even if you are aware of it. And we'll talk a little bit about that later.
Mhm.
Uh, but it's just amazing how much of a role the nervous system plays in all of that.
Mhm.
So let's make this real for people so they really get it. Let's anchor this in. Um, what does feeling unsafe look like in everyday life within someone's body, within their nervous system? Like, can you give us some examples of what happens in the body when we don't feel safe?
Mhm. So when you don't feel safe in your body, your breathing changes, your muscle tension, your muscle tone changes. You may not even be aware of it. Your voice tone can change. Your sometimes not connected literally to your thinking brain because your body takes over. So you may panic. You may lash out at people. Again, that's from a place of protection. I don't know what else to do. I'm going to lash out and come back into myself so I can protect myself. So we may not even realize we're getting snippy with people, for example, um, yelling at your boss if that happens. It just comes from a place of I'm overwhelmed. My body is shut down. I'm not reasoning and thinking clearly. So, this is the behavior that comes out from all of what my nervous system's messages are telling me.
I wanted to, I can, I can so relate to that because what I discovered within the last couple of months after doing a really introspective look at myself
Hmm.
is that I've always had this way, because of my energy and what I attract to myself, of
Hmm.
attracting people who are of a high caliber. Like one such person is a dear friend of mine who is a business coach and is one of the top keynote speakers in the world.
Hmm.
And I attracted him into my life when I was actually going through a job transition. And I knew once I left that job that the floodgates were going to open and I was going to meet the people that I needed to meet to take me to the next level in life.
Hmm.
But as my relationship went on, what I discovered is that my container within myself that had experienced traumas that made me feel like my self-worth was in the toilet basically, uh, and I really never thought that I was enough to be able to hold that type of powerful energy for a long period of time. Then I self sabotaged and I kind of pushed the person away because I didn't know how to deal with that person in my life. I didn't know how to hold that container, that high energy of success, because my nervous system couldn't deal with it. And I had to really get real with myself because I tended to beat myself up and think that there was something wrong with me for shutting the relationship down or leaving a coaching program. It was because I didn't think that I could handle it. I didn't think my nervous system could handle it. I didn't think that I could be successful. I had never uh, actually worked with someone of that caliber in my life, and I wanted to keep the relationship open. I just didn't know how to hold it. And I know that was due to my nervous system. So, can you tell us why these things happen in our body, like the shallow breathing? Well, I'm going to say for me, when my nervous system is off, I tend not to breathe. Like I think I could. I think if I was in a body of water, I would never drown because I never breathe. And so my naturopath actually said that to me because he would notice by looking at me. He always asked me, "You're not breathing, are you?" And I always wondered how he could tell that. But um, and then a lot of times either I'm not breathing or my chest and my abdomen will get really tight
Mhm.
if I'm anxious, or if I even if a thought is going through my mind, like a self-talk kind of thing. My body has been conditioned to react and respond in a certain way over the years.
Mhm.
So, can you kind of explain the body's response
Mhm.
in those situations? Why does it do that, and how can why does it do that?
You kind of touched on something there when you said over the years I got used to. So our bodies, our nervous system develops habits. It's all about habits and how to develop new ones and recognize our old patterns. So we develop these habits, and that's where we operate from sometimes. So our body tells us we're not going to be successful. We're not as good as this other person. We can't hold on to all this goodness. We're not used to doing it. And at each stage of your nervous system, you tell yourself a different story. Like if you're in the safe, calm, connected, regulated, you're telling yourself your body's at peace, your body's breathing regularly, your breath's not getting stuck or held anywhere, you're not clenching your jaws. So that literally frees up on that, again, that pathway, that roadway in your body of your nervous system. There's no traffic jam. You're at peace. Everything's flowing. So your brain's connected. You can think analytically. You can tell yourself the story that I am successful. Here is what I'm going to do. I'm in a state where I can create what I want in my life. But if we're starting to doubt ourselves, we might be going to that fight flight mode, the activated mode. And that's going to take some of the energy, some of the power from our brain because the nervous system's sending that out away from our brain into our bodies to help us feel safe, to feel protected, to feel like I can get through this moment. So in the activated state, you might be telling yourself a story. I think I can do it, but this is going to happen. I think something bad's going to happen. So I'm just kind of stuck. I'm not completely shut down yet, but I'm still stuck. And then if you continue to not be able to regulate your breathing, ground yourself, center yourself, and get back into your mind that's peaceful, safe, and regulated, you may go further into shutdown and just completely shut everything off. So if you can picture yourself, I can't breathe, I'm stuck, I'm hiding, it's not safe, I can't come out. There's a monster out there, for example. That monster can be our thoughts telling us things aren't going to turn out well. Nothing good ever comes to me. So all that energy is now going all the way down into your body, making you stuck, and there's even less messages, fewer messages going to your brain saying, I'm okay, I can be creative. Um, So we just get stuck. We get used to doing things, telling ourselves the same messages. And until we can figure out ways to work on ourselves and get back to that state of mind we know we can have because we've been there before, we stay stuck. We just have to keep working on habits to come back to our safe, peaceful selves.
Got you. And that's why, God, it is so important to know how to create safety in your body. That fear,
Mhm,
I think, in my estimation, the fear is what runs everything. The fight or flight runs everything in your life because those are the basic human responses
mhm,
to threats.
mhm,
And so it's so important to feel safe. And like I said, gosh, I wish I had known this years ago because
mhm,
it seems like a lot of the trauma, even something small, can traumatize you.
mhm,
It can traumatize you when you're a child and you carry that forward into your adult life. Uh, and things that you experienced as a child
mhm,
continue to show up when you're an adult as trauma. Um, so I think what I'm trying to say is, does trauma have a lot to do with safety? And does that have a lot to do with how your nervous system operates in your everyday life? And tell us a
mhm.
little bit. I know this is going off track a little bit, but tell us about trauma and how it affects the nervous system, because it can be something this small or
Mhm,
that big.
mhm. So trauma's a word that gets thrown out there a lot and people think, "Oh, I haven't had trauma." That's just
Hmm.
in the therapy world. But if you look at the word trauma, just think about it as anything that has happened to you or that you've gone through, experience that makes you stop and go, "I wish that had never happened. I can't stop thinking about that." It can be as simple as getting stood up for the prom. That can be a trauma, something you always remember. Any
Did that
and
happen
one
to you?
person, oh, well, we're not gonna talk about that. So, I did get over that over the years, but something as simple as that can cause a trauma. Other people might say, "Oh, that's no big deal. That happened to me." But one person's experience is not the same as another person's. Uh, so yes, that did happen to me. But we have to remember trauma is as we define it. It's our experience. If your experience is real to you and something happened that hurt you, that's trauma.
Yes.
It's not to
Yeah.
be defined by someone else. It's how you define it. What is your perception? What are you feeling in your body? So, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Because no, we tend to make think trauma has to be this huge thing, but I notice in myself how, okay, this is a good example, how a trauma for me can show up in the way someone is speaking to me or
Hmm.
speaking at me,
Hmm.
because I experienced the trauma. God, I love being self aware of the things that I've gone through in my life and how it's affected me. My dad, when I think I was about 10 years old, I had actually seen him driving around the neighborhood with another woman. And it made me mad when I would see him. It mostly was when we were out grocery shopping with mom, and I would see him with this other woman. So one day, me and my bold ass, I I confronted him on that, and I'll never forget it. He looked at me and he was angry because he knew he had been caught. But the way he responded to me scared the crap out of me, and it traumatized me. He got very angry at me and he told me, "Don't you ever say anything like that to me again." And, basically what I saw, I didn't really see.
Mm-hmm.
And it traumatized me. So as I had relationships with men over the course of my life, and I've been in abusive relationships, when I get yelled at, I find myself shrinking, and I go into this protective mode in my body. I feel it. And so that's an example of how a trauma can affect you across your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So, what exactly, I don't think people know what feeling safe is. I don't think they know what it feels like anymore,
Mm-hmm.
um, because the system that we live in automatically sets us up to be living in survival mode and for our nervous systems to be dysregulated,
Mm-hmm.
because a dysregulated nervous system means that it's hard for you to fight back and hard for you to process information. So
Mm-hmm.
how would someone recognize safety in their body? Can you explain what a safe body feels like again, and what does all that mean?
So a safe body basically feels like I'm okay. I'm feeling good in the place where I am. The people around me are I'm comfortable being around them. Safety looks like, hmm. So could you ask the question again? Safety looks like there are so many, we talked about it so much already, but there are
Hmm.
many ways to feel safe in your body. Um, your breathing is regular. You can take a deep breath, you can let it go. When you exhale, that's actually letting go and feeling safe and feeling protected. So you're able to, if you feel like, oh, something's happening, I don't feel comfortable. Why am I getting this reaction? What's the energy coming from me going toward the other person? Or, as Lianna said, did they yell at me? What was their tone of voice? Did they look at me a certain way? We're able to discern, so to speak, and check in, um, to see if that's a person we can be around, to see if we are just having a reaction to something that happened in the past. So, safety means we can recognize when we're feeling stuck, when we're feeling threatened, when we're able to look at a person and say, oh, that's not you that caused that damage to me or that trauma to me. That's me responding to something I went through in the past. I'm having the same sensations. I'm panicking. I'm holding my breath. That's just an example. I'm getting tense. I want to run. I really don't want to be here because there's something that reminds you of something you've been through. So feeling safe means I can question my thought in a healthy way, in a positive way, and not shut down. Even if I feel like I'm going toward wanting to run or not wanting to be around people or isolate or lash out at them, I'm able to go, okay, let me take a deep breath. Wait a minute. What's going on? Why is my body feeling this way? What am I feeling inside? Is my chest tight? Is my heart beating fast? Am I sweating? Am I getting hot? Um, am I getting brain fog, blanking out? Can I think straight? Safety is the opposite of that. We're able to regulate our breathing, ground ourselves, and tell ourselves, We're okay. This just reminded me of something.
Okay. Um, I, I was thinking about something as you were speaking. Um, for example, as a speaker, I've
Hmm.
been trained to be a world class speaker, and
Hmm.
one of the things that the instructor taught us was how to get in state.
Hmm.
And I know for me, when I used to speak before I took that course, I used to get really hyper and nervous and think of everything that could go wrong. But what I learned was to start thinking about everything that could go right. And to get into state means to listen to some music or something
Hmm.
that puts you in a relaxed mood or gets you fired up for you
Hmm.
to be able to speak on the topic that you're speaking about,
Hmm.
um, or even to meditate. I used to meditate, and I would focus on flow, just being in flow, and I would
Hmm.
ask divine actually to just allow me to be in flow and let it all. And then I would see myself doing it well instead of the opposite, which is, oh my God, what can go, this is going to go wrong. That's going to go wrong. What if I fall off the stage? What if I, all these things we think could go wrong. So that's a way of regulating your nervous system, is
Hmm.
to get into state, and you can use that in your everyday life.
Hmm.
So let's pause for a second. Even you guys listening right now, can you remember a moment when you felt a little okay? Can you remember when your body, your mind, and your spirit felt okay? What changes in your body in that moment? What do you feel? Like Tracy and I were talking about, do you feel at peace? Do you feel like you can breathe? Do you feel relaxed? What changes? What changes in the body in that moment, Tracy, when you are feeling safe? Like your breathing, your tone of voice, even
Hmm.
the speed at which you speak, those type of things.
Hmm. So, what changes in your body when you're feeling safe?
Yeah,
Um,
when you're in those moments where everything feels fine, and you can move forward
mhm,
in your life in a
mhm,
different way. Your mind, body, and spirit is
mhm,
in in sync.
mhm. Lots of things change in your body. Let me use an example. Maybe it can help explain it. But I find joy in teaching other people. So I was asked to teach mindfulness skills, teach about mindfulness to a group of school staff in one of our school districts here. So I am technically challenged. So, I go in, I'm going, oh no, is it going to work? Is my PowerPoint going to work? That was the first time I'd ever done one, put it together and everything, and I figured out how to make it show up. But then the internet didn't connect. And then at one point, it just stopped working. But I was able to, because I'm used to the habit of calming myself down in situations like this, or just in general everyday life, I acknowledge. So when you're feeling safe, you acknowledge, uh-oh, something did go wrong or something didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But I didn't let that take over my brain and just start circling. Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do this. Oh no, they're going to think I'm stupid. So it could have gone that way, but I was able to breathe, use humor. I used eye contact. So a lot of different body cues. I use that energy when you're feeling safe, you can use that energy that would otherwise be stuck to project it outward, to make yourself feel okay, to literally breathe it through your body and let it out and let it reach out to other people, to connect with other people. So safety, it changes in your body. You're not feeling that panic energy. You're still energized, but it's not a panic. Something's going to go wrong. This is all bad. It's a good kind of energy. So you learn how to refocus your thoughts. A lot of times it starts with, I need to refocus my thought. I need to restate that negative I just said. And the more positive you say to the negatives that come up, the more your body's going to regulate itself. The more you get used to that, you just breathe through it. You just say, oh, it's going to be okay. The story I'm telling myself is not true. I can let it go that way, or I can take control. So when you're feeling safe, you're also feeling like I can control this situation. It's not going to overpower me, no matter what happens, because in life, stuff happens.
Exactly.
Change happens. As a 90-something-year-old woman told me one time, the only thing constant is change. So we got to learn to roll with the punches, to breathe through it, to take that energy and put it in a different place and use it a different way.
Hmm.
So when you're feeling safe, you're able to do that with your whole body. So,
And we have a choice as to whether or not we're going to do this or not. We have a choice as to whether we're going to stay the same or whether we're going to shift, because if we if we know that we want to move forward and operate in a completely different way, especially when we're self-aware. I know one of my really good friends told me that she was a raw foodie coach and a vegan, and she was a chef in California, and she told me that most people would rather die than change the way they eat or
mhm,
whatever. So it is a choice. It is a choice that we get to make. And one other thing I wanted to touch on was what you were talking about a little while ago. That self-talk is no joke.
mhm,
Self-talk, I think, is where a lot of this starts, because we have to become aware of what we're saying to ourselves, those thoughts that are going through our head, and we have to
mhm,
develop a way to interrupt those.
mhm,
Not necessarily, it's not like not acknowledging that they're there, but to actually know that they're there and shift into, you can do that through a breath or
mhm,
gratitude, the
mhm,
practice of gratitude. Um, so I was going to ask you if you could take the audience, if you could take us through a couple of experiential practices where we can actually feel the
mhm,
difference in our body.
mhm. So, one thing we can do is orient ourselves, um, looking at the space around us, knowing where we are. So, just take a look around wherever you're sitting, standing, laying. What do you see? What do you notice? What colors do you notice? What shapes do you notice? What are some things, like 3 things you can hear? And just notice, what are 3 things I can hear right now? And then as you look around, what are 5 things that I see in this place where I am? What are 2 things I can smell? Can I smell anything? Can I taste anything? Am I sipping water? Am I chewing gum? Am I eating a nice piece of chocolate that just melts in my mouth? And just notice all those things. What are 3 things I can touch? And you can even take touch into what is my body temperature? Am I hot? Am I cold? Am I sweating? That's all about sense of touch. And the purpose of this is just orienting yourself to the world around you, where you are at any given moment. What do I notice? What do I see? What do I smell? What do I hear? What can I touch? What can I taste? And it helps you be more present where you are in any given moment. And when you're focusing on that presence and what's around me, takes you out of your mind, out of your thoughts, so your thoughts aren't racing, so your body's not feeling unsettled and uncomfortable. It helps you just, okay, I'm not going to think about that right now. I'm going to look at what is around me. So just notice what your experience of that was. And then I'll take you through a breathing exercise. So you can put your one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart or in your chest area. And as you breathe in, let your body expand so you can feel breathing into both of those hands. And hold it for a couple of seconds. And then let it out. You can let it out through your nose or through your mouth. And then breathe in and expand again into your hands. And hold it a couple of seconds. And then let your body just sink and collapse and let go of that air. So when you're feeling safe, you're able to take that deep breath in and you hold it and you tell yourself, I'm safe. And you let that breath back out. All the while telling yourself, I'm safe, I'm here, I'm relaxing, I'm letting go of tension, I'm letting go of whatever is bothering me in my mind. And then we can go into a grounding exercise. So if your feet are on the floor, you can press your feet into the floor. You can keep your eyes open. You can keep them closed. Listen to your body, whatever it's telling you to do. So notice pressing your feet into the floor. Is it soft underneath your feet? Is it hard surface underneath your feet? Take a deep breath so that imagine it going all the way to the top of your head through your whole body. And then as you let it out, let it go from the top of your head all the way through your neck, your chest, your stomach, down your legs and into your feet in the floor. And take one more breath in from your feet, imagining it going all the way to the top of your head. And then, same thing, blow it out all the way down your face, your neck, your chest, through your arms, your belly, your legs, your back, into the floor. And just press your feet into the floor. Move them around a little bit so you can really feel it. Take your hands and move them down your thighs, down your calves to your feet, and back up. Notice what your body is in contact with, what you're sitting on. When you feel the couch or the chair you're sitting on, what does that feel like? And then just settle into it by taking one more deep breath and letting it out. So just notice what that experience was for you. We all have different experiences. Was it comfortable? Was it soothing? What words would you put with that?
That was awesome. What did you guys notice in your body as you were going through those exercises? Put it in the chat. Share a little with us. What you guys notice? Okay, so man, this has been a really great show. It's been extremely a lot of good information, very informational. Um, but one other question I wanted to ask is, what does this look like in the moment? Like as you're going through your workday, uh, in your relationships, what does it look like maybe in your self talk or even in, we experience microaggressions sometimes. How do
Mhm.
you shift your state in those moments? What's the easiest way to do it? What can someone do?
And some of the moments you mentioned are some very difficult moments for us to experience during the day, and they can throw us way off if we let them. So, first of all, one of the main things that I tell people is acknowledge what's happening. You don't always have to say it out loud, but at least acknowledge to yourself. Um, Sometimes I find myself going, did that really just happen? Really? That just happened. They really said that. They really did that. And you don't have to accept that behavior. Notice how it's affecting you. It's making you question. It might make you question yourself. So, in that case, you might turn your thoughts around. Am I really that stupid as they think I'm? She just said, I have a terrible work ethic. What? So we have to tell ourselves that's her story. The story I know for myself is I have a good work ethic. I know how to attract clients. I know how to connect with them to make them feel comfortable. So, one thing again you can do in those moments is acknowledge what you're feeling, acknowledge what just happened. And this can be done quickly, it doesn't take like an hour. Um, a couple of seconds. That just happened. I didn't like it. Let me calm myself down. You can tell yourself if you know that you're feeling like you're going to get out of control, you can tell yourself, I need a break or else this is not going to turn out pretty. You can ask for that break. You can say, this is not a good time for me to talk right now. I'd like to think about it and process it. And then I will come back to you at a time we can find that works for both of us. That's like a work situation. Or it can be a relationship situation. You get in an argument, acknowledge what happened. You don't always have to say it out loud, you can say it in your mind. You can take a deep breath, because a lot of times when we're offended or threatened in the moment or don't feel safe, we're guarded. Our whole body is just like armor. So we got to find some way to relax it. You can do that by patting yourself, breathing into your hand. You can do this in front of people. People don't have to know I'm calming myself down because you just, piss me off. You can just go. You can just,
Mm.
let me breathe. Let me breathe. And that's like giving yourself a hug, really.
Mhm.
You can squeeze pressure point. This is pressure pointing, I'll call it. Just squeeze your hands together, not like balling up your fists, but just squeezing them. It's a way to calm your tension, calm your body, breathe.
It's almost like a stress ball.
It's like a imaginary stress ball. When you don't have
When you don't have one.
when you don't have one, you can visualize.
Or their head in between your.
If that's what you need to visualize, and say to yourself, I'm going to remain calm. I'm going to come back to this when I'm not so upset. This is upsetting me. Let me take a deep breath. So, those are little things you can do in the moment. Grounding yourself. Just simply taking your hands. You can't see my whole body on here, but like pretend this is my leg. You're just doing gentle movements on your thigh to help put that pressure there. That helps calm you down. That can help ground you. Um, it's just another example. And always breathing, always breathing.
That's the key. Not drowning, breathing. So, if there's one thing that we can take from this, it's that you are not broken and you don't need fixing. There is nothing wrong with you. It's just that you need to learn how to become aware of your state and
Mhm,
learn how to shift it in those moments where you recognize that you are becoming out of balance because of the things that are going on in your environment, or the way that you're talking to yourself and the
mhm,
like. Um, your body really has been trying to protect you the whole time, and you didn't know it.
mhm,
Talk about intelligence. Your body is intelligent,
mhm,
but it can get out of balance. And that's why nervous system regulation helps you feel safe in a
mhm,
world that sometimes feels unsafe. Um, so, what's one small thing that you can do this week that'll help you feel even 5% more safe? Think about that and try it. Do a little experimentation yourself. So, quickly, before we end, I wanted to run past you a program that I am starting. It is called the Sovereign Income Reset. And I know specifically this is going to help someone who may be watching right now. Maybe you were laid off. Maybe you are pretending to be fine. Maybe you're being underpaid or you're unemployed. Maybe
mhm,
you're a single parent and the numbers aren't just adding up. No matter what you do, maybe you're working a job that's beneath you. Um, or you're getting overlooked and you're running out of time and energy and to keep tolerating it. So maybe you've even tried to start something new, but you've hit a wall. God knows that's happened to me so many times. And that's why I created this. I see you. I built something just for you. So starting next Monday, March 30th, I'm opening up 10 spots in the Sovereign Income Reset. It's a 90-day live program where we do three things together that no other program does at the same time. We stabilize your nervous system. That's the key because that will help you as you progress through what you're building and what you want to do in your life, how you want to shift
Mhm.
things. Um, because you can't build from survival mode. I can tell you that firsthand. We will restart your income with real practical steps starting in the first 2 weeks. And we restore your identity because economic hardship does not take your money, it takes the sense of who you are. So I'm looking for 10 women. This is a women's cohort, 90 days, live calls with me personally, and it's $147. So it's something in you recognized itself in what I just described. The recognition is not an accident. So grab the link in the description for the Sovereign Income Reset and join us next Monday. Tracy will be joining me to talk about how to regulate the nervous system and how that all plays into you creating your new life, your new income. So, Tracy, can you ground us, give us a grounding word of wisdom for this week as we close things out?
A grounding word of wisdom. Hmm. What I do not change, I am choosing.
Perfect. Perfect. So, we'd like to thank you guys for joining us this evening and join us next week for Regulate and Rise. We look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
Thank you.